Disaster preparedness. They're going to speak here for a little bit. We got Beth Davidson from School Police and Dennis Barnett. They're going to talk to you about a program called FLIP, where they take at-risk youth and they flip them around and then they turn them into good citizens. They're going to tell you a little bit about that program. And they're going to actually start out first. We've got a presentation from Animal Control Officer Jamie Simmons regarding bird cockfighting. And then we have a presentation from Luke Haynes and Sergio Quiros from the City of Fontana regarding landscaping and some other city stuff that some folks talked about last time they were interested in. So before we get going, I've got some introductions I'd like to do. We've got Matt Slowick, who's the Planning Commissioner, who's here. Would you stand up there? We've got John Roberts, who's Councilman here with the city. Would you like to get up and say a few words, John?
Welcome to the meeting. I hope everything is running smooth and hundred-grid, and if it's not, let us know.
Pretty sweet, huh? Victoria Raina from Community Services. Where's she at over here? Okay. Myself, I'm Lieutenant Bill McGinney, Fontana Police Department. What else do we have? Am I missing anybody? I think that's it. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize. You don't see a whole lot of people here. That to some people is not a good sign. To me, that's a great sign because it shows that there's not a lot of concern about what's going on up here. That doesn't mean that there isn't anything that's going on up here. Historically, everything north of the 210 freeway, the crime is a little bit less up here than it is down Center Street and further south, so that's a good thing. If we have time, I will put up some stats and show you some of the things that are going up here and talk about what the number one type calls are that bring us up here. Most of it you're going to see is traffic enforcement and maybe a few disturbances here and there, nothing major.
I have one quick question.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
There's one thing that you had before. You had a sign that was out there.
Yeah, you know, I was just saying I have no idea what happened with that. I think it's just, you know, the beginning of the year and somebody probably dropped the ball.
I think maybe that's one, because a lot of people here, we get alerted behind that. And it's not the way to really attend this.
Right.
But you know, that alerts people.
Sure, absolutely. Trust me, we commented on that. There were some dates that got changed for some of the community meetings. This meeting, for example, was actually supposed to have taken place last week. But we didn't think that the first Monday in January was a good Monday because people were coming back from vacations and trips and all that other kind of stuff. So
I just think that's maybe why
I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce Lydia Weiber, Councilman, because she stepped outside, so I wasn't able to. Lydia, did you want to say anything before we start?
Just thank you for everybody that has come to get the information that we have to present to you, and feel free to answer questions. There's some good presentations that are going to be around tonight.
With that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dennis Barnett, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the FLIP program.
Good evening. My name is Officer Dennis Barnett. I'm a police officer for the Fontana Unified School District Police Department. It's my secretary, Beth Davidson. We are both assigned with a Fontana Police Department officer 40 hours a week to this program specifically. FLIP program. It's a combined effort between the City of Fontana, the Fontana Unified School District, the Fontana School Police Department, and the Fontana Police Department. It is unique. It is the only one of this type in California. And we are very, very lucky to have a city, to have a school district, to have partnerships with our police departments where we are actually putting at-risk youth in your city, those kids that would be offenders, those kids, let's be clear on this. Kids that are in my program can be kids that have committed burglaries, carjackings, they've fighting at school, kids with drug problems. But I also have kids in my program that are avid students, straight A students. They're putting this program on a resume now because they want to show that they were part of an internationally recognized leadership program. In 2013, FLIP was recognized worldwide by the International Association of Chiefs of Police as the top intervention program worldwide. This is happening in Fontana. I was born and raised here. I went to school in Fontana. So I'm well aware of the issues we have in our schools. Now some of you may be saying, well, a lot of kids up here don't attend Fontana schools. You've got Fontana address. Fontana address, you go to FLIP. You can recommend kids for the FLIP program. They go to school in Etiwanda. They go to school in Roundtop. They go to school in Colton, Bloomington. They have, at this time, if they have an address in Fontana, we take them. In special circumstances, we'll take kids outside of our district also if we have the cooperation of that school district with providing us some information. So what is FLIP? 16-week intervention program. And we get our kids in a number of different ways. We get our kids from court. They've been cited. They've been arrested. They have to go see a judge. We work with the judges at the court. Court mandates that the child attend the 16-week program and show completion of the program for them to continue through the process. Probation. Somebody may have gone to juvenile hall. They've been given a probation officer. Probation officer recommends that they're in the FLIP program as part of their probation. They have to complete the 16 weeks. Through our Child Welfare and Attendance Office. Child Welfare and Attendance very simply takes care of kids that are truant, those kids that are put up for expulsion. They're either going to recommend a student for expulsion, they're going to postpone the expulsion. It's a long process, especially the truancy that a lot of our kids go through. It's a long process of getting a hold of the parent, sending out letters, making contact. CWA recommends those kids also and can mandate them to become part of our program. And once the student goes through the 16 weeks, they can be allowed to be back into our school district again for various number of things. A lot of them come from truancy, a lot of them come from drug abuse, some of them bring weapons to school. So we do that. Then we have just the easiest way, parent referrals, administrator referrals, teacher referrals. Actually, our number one way we get kids in our program is through parents. Contacting us and saying, hey, my kid he's just not the same teenager that I had. He's out of control. I'm seeing some problems. Hey, bring him in. The first step we do is what's called an intake interview. Very simple. The child comes in with the parent, and we sit down. We explain the program to the parent. We explain the program to the child. If the child's mandated, I'm not going to take him unless the child says, I want to be here. Because 16 weeks is a long time. And I can't force something down somebody's throat that they don't want to ingest. And I'm not going to take them for the wrong reason. If they can't see the importance of completing the program so that you can get off probation, so that they don't have further problems with the law or with the judicial system, then that child's not ready for this yet. Because 16 weeks is a long time. On top of working with the child, this is not a daycare service for these parents. 8-week mandatory parenting class that they must attend. So when they come here, there's a $75 fee up front. The parent gets $25 of that back when they complete the parenting class. They get another $25 back when the student graduates. We only keep the $25, and that's to pay for the student's uniform. While the kids are there, we provide them lunch. This is going on Saturdays. 16 Saturdays from 7 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Kind of skimming through this because I want to go quickly. You have a lot of stuff that I want to have presented tonight, so I kind of just want to give you a brief overview. When they're there, this is the uniform that these kids are wearing. They're learning to stand at attention. Some of FLIP is sort of paramilitary. Why do we do semi-paramilitary things with these kids? Because I can tell you, if I can get a kid to stand for 15 minutes at attention and not move, that kid can sit in the classroom for 45 minutes and pay attention to a teacher, even in the most boring subject. It also teaches them, while we're doing this, that there are consequences. We're a team when we're there, and teamwork is important. But they're responsible for themselves. If they do something wrong, the group pays the price for it, usually by push-ups, sit-ups. They're getting stronger. Stronger physically, stronger mentally. They start forming a team. You start seeing changes at school. Because one important factor with FLIP is, a lot of these programs that you have that are boot camp based, they only work with the behavior outside of school. Well, our component is, we're from the school district. So what we're doing is every week going out and checking on these kids at school. They're responsible for grade checks. So we're constantly following these kids through 16 weeks. We're also doing home visits. Every week, that kid has an officer visit him at his home. We go through their room. We check to make sure there's nothing in the room the parent would want to have. Make sure that it's neat and tidy. That's the way they keep their house, the way they keep their space. It's going to transfer over to some behavior that they have at school. So we have this program. It's not only dealing with school, it's dealing with home. We have the parents changing behaviors, becoming better parents. Because the kid usually didn't get this way without a little bit of help from the parent. And so I do hold the parent responsible in a way. But the parenting component of the class helps the parent to be better. How to get along with their at-risk teenager. But it's not only helping that child, their siblings at home. So those siblings benefit from this. We see a huge change in the way our kids react and the communication our kids have with their parents. When the class topics that we teach, when they get there in the morning, they go through a little physical training at the very beginning of the morning. We go in the classroom for 2 hours. First 2-hour block, it's taught by instructors that you would see at a college or a university. We have public defenders, judges, district attorneys, doctors, military heroes. There's a number of people that come in to teach classes for these kids, and they're not paid. They come in on their own accord to give to these kids. They teach all sorts of different types of classes. We have the fire department that comes in and teaches a class. We have the SMASH officers, the gang officers from Fontana PD that come in. But we also have people that come in and just talk about truancy. We have somebody that comes in and talks about the dangers of having sex as a teenager, sexually transmitted diseases. Those topics that you know as citizens here in Fontana and as parents in today's society are huge topics for our teenagers, especially those teenagers that are at risk. We take 2 field trips, the Museum of Tolerance, the college campus at the University of Southern California, USC. Museum of Tolerance, we take them there because, look, we're all different. We all have different beliefs, but we have to be able to get and be able to work together. USC, because most of them have never been out of Fontana. Most of them have never been onto a college campus. The kids that go to USC, they're no different from them. They just focus themselves at study. We want to show them that they're not any different. Then we take probably, the one that I hate going on is when we go to West Valley Detention Center and we tour the jail. And when we say we tour the jail, we take the kids inside the jail. We put them in holding cells, we get them, they smell it, they see it, they hear it, and by the time they leave, one of the biggest things we get is when they walk out the door, they all say, man, it smells so good outside. I say, yeah, that's freedom. That's what freedom smells like, and you should think about that every time you're able to go outside. After that, we go to the coroner's office. As a kid, I never thought my life could end in an instant, and most of these kids don't believe that either. And so we go there because we want to show them that their life is precious. They've been given a life, they need to take advantage of that, and to run with that, and do everything they possibly can to be successful. By the end of this day, our kids are usually wiped out. So those are the 2 main field trips that we take in the program. What's next? The kids are required, when they're in the program, to check in with the school resource officer every single day when they're at school. They check in, I'm here today, sir, ma'am. I just wanted to let you know I haven't been in any trouble this week. The school resource officer checks their attendance, checks their behavior to make sure that they're towing the line. If they're not, we automatically get called. We're also responsible every week for turning in a grade check. And that grade check is important because every teacher is writing down exactly what's happening inside that specific class, the grade, and whether homework and schoolwork is getting turned in. We also make sure that these kids can only miss 2 days worth of flip. Their third day, they're out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They have to be there. Because one of the biggest things for our kids is their short credits. Their contribution to being in this, not only are they getting some of their community service, the court taken care of, they're getting off probation, they're earning 5 elective credits while they're in the program in 16 weeks. That's huge for some of these kids. Physical fitness standards. They are running a mile. They are doing a set amount of push-ups. They're doing a set amount of sit-ups in a certain amount of time. And every time they do those, they have to do more each time. They're checked 4 times during the program to make sure. So I have some kids that can't run a mile. Now you should be able to run a mile when you're young. When you're 13 years old, you should be able to zoom around that track 4 times. I tell you, I have more 13-year-old kids that cannot run around the track 2 times without stopping. Now some kids takes 20 minutes at times to get around the track. All of our kids will finish the mile in under 10 minutes. Most of our kids, even our females, will do 40 push-ups in 60 seconds or more. And our females are stronger at the sit-ups. Some of our females do 60 sit-ups in 60 seconds, which is, for our girls, it's a motivator. It makes them feel like they're strong. It gets them a self-esteem, and that's important to us. Drug testing, yes, Beth brought that up. We drug test randomly through our program. So when we have kids that are coming through our program that have addiction, we're testing them. Randomly, some of our kids are mandated to be tested every single Saturday that they're there. We do community service projects because it's important that we give back to our community. So one Saturday we go out and do community service. We've done numerous different types of community service projects. But it's important for us because we want to know these kids need to understand that they're from a great city. They're from a city of rich history. Most of them know nothing about Kaiser Steel. Most of them know nothing about what the city was founded on and what a great place they have to live in now. And they need to understand that they have to go back out in the community and give, because I want them to come back after they've graduated high school and still live here. I don't want them to be the kids that are robbing you. I don't want them to be the kids that are spray painting your walls. I want these kids to be the business owners, the future leaders of your city. I want them to be the attorneys. I want them to be the doctors. I want them to be the nurses. I want them to be successful. That's all we want for our kids. And let's be clear. If these kids didn't have this program, 85% of them would be rearrested and would be in jail. Now, our success rate in flip, you may say, hey, Officer Barnett, how many of these kids go back? 85% of our kids never reoffend. We get our kids at 12 years old. That's a long time for them to go in school without getting in trouble again. 85%. That's a huge percentage rate. You got kids starting off at 12. And those kids at 12 have been arrested for vandalism, burglary, and they change their life around 16 weeks. Is that at the end of 16 weeks after we graduate? No, we track our kids from the very day they graduate all the way to the very end. So until they graduate from high school, we continue to track them. We have a flip graduation. To be honest with you, it's nicer than the high school graduation. We have more people show up for that graduation, the dignitaries, that'll show up to their high school graduation. For a lot of these kids, this is a milestone in their life. They've wanted to change. They wanted to make a change. A lot of our kids come back to mentor new kids, which means they come back and give up their Saturdays. I don't know how many high school kids you know or middle school kids you know that will get up at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And some of them walk miles to get to our program, to come back, to sit in a classroom, to help out because they're mentoring. And that's the type of change we want to see in our kids. Yeah, scholarships is a big deal. If it wasn't for the partnerships we have within the city of Fontana, and let me tell you what, we have some generous donors. Flip is a nonprofit. Flip does not cost the district 1 red cent. They'd be paying my salary, Beth's salary, Officer Gordon, who's the instructor from Fontana Police Department, they'd be paying his salary. Flip program doesn't cost the district 1 cent. It's a nonprofit. Through generous donations that we received from citizens of Fontana, from businesses in Fontana. And they've also opened up scholarship opportunities for our graduating seniors, which means when we have a senior graduate from high school, we take a look at them, we look at their GPA, we look at how well they've done, and there are scholarship opportunities for them. So they're also signed up for financial aid before they leave out of Flip also. They're going to go to college. And this is the biggest thing about this program. Everybody knows what Casey is. Casey's kind of interesting. Casey's a test these kids are given now. And Casey states whether or not they're going to get the regular high school diploma or whether they're going to get, well, it's kind of sort of a diploma. We don't want to make our kids feel bad. If they've got enough credits but they can't complete the Casey, we're going to give them a certificate of completion. We're going to let them walk. Or if they can pass Casey, which is English and math, we're going to give them their high school diploma. Every single kid that graduates from Flip passes both sections of the Casey exam. They get their high school diploma. So, the program working? I think so. 85% success rate? That's working. Less crime? For us to have to clean up? Nobody up in your neighborhood stealing your cars? How many kids have we graduated from Flip? Well, we're going on our 3rd year now. I think we're right about Class 8. I want to say the last count was 236 kids that we graduated from the Flip program. That's 236 kids in Fontana that are out on the street acting like knuckleheads. And trust me, I grew up in Fontana. I used to act like a knucklehead. I needed a program like this. I wasn't perfect. I can tell you that. And my father and my mother were teachers in the district. My father was the assistant principal of Fontana High School and ran child welfare attendants. And I was a knucklehead. So I understand what it takes. And you need to understand that in Fontana you have an internationally recognized program. No one else in the state of California has a program like this. So if you know anybody that's having problems with their kids, if you know anybody that needs to be reached out to, contact us. I've left some pamphlets up here in both English and Spanish. Beth has left her card up there. It's perfect to get a hold of her because she takes care of the whole, she's steering this boat. Okay? So you contact her, she'll go ahead and hook the child up with an intake interview. We're currently doing intake interviews right now. The next class starts on February the 15th. Yes. Okay. So February 15th, we start our new class. So if you know anybody, let them know we're here. Do you have any questions about the program? Perfect. And we're giving you the whole shebang. We'll let you get on with the evening. Thank you for having us.
If you get a chance to go to one of the Flip graduations, it's amazing what they do with these kids in 16 weeks. You have kids that can barely write or express themselves, that write some papers or speeches, rather, that will bring your eyes to tears. I mean, they're that moving. So,
and we do have a homework tutoring session that we conduct, and any students with D's or F's, it's mandatory that they come and they spend Wednesday evenings from 3:30 to 6:30 with us. And we've had students that have gone from all F's to almost straight A's while they've been in the program.
Very cool.
I do want to add too that I worked with several of the students that have went through the Flip program, and the first thing that gets my attention is that they don't go to school. And I can tell you right now, this is the best program anywhere in the state of California. We've got dynamic employees, officers. Beth is a very hard worker. And we work as a team with our administration, with our teachers, with myself. I work with the school district also as what we call a truant officer. And I sit on the student attendance review board, so we refer quite a few of our students directly to Flip. And it is very successful. Most of the time very rarely will I see another student, a student again. And I have success stories too with many of our students that have graduated through the Flip program. So anybody that knows of anyone that may be there for the child, please don't hesitate. It's better to seek the resources than to wait until it's too late later. So please, you're welcome to take the brochures and contact Beth, and she will be here.
It's a great change in attitude, and it really does lessen our clientele. We don't want the clientele. We really don't. You know, if we could go a whole year without arresting somebody, it would be an accomplishment. Anyhow, thank you, Beth, and thank you, Dennis, for your presentation. We're going to move on next to our CERT presentation. And these folks, we have Ramon Cancel and Oscar Limon. They're going to talk to you about surviving some major catastrophic type ordeals, earthquakes, windstorms, whatever Fontana may bring in, right? So without further ado.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for inviting us. Ray Cancel and myself, Oscar Limon, we're part of the Community Emergency Response Team. And I see Teamster Brother right here. I started with GPS a couple of years back. I retired in 2006, and this is what I've been doing, working with the community, volunteering. But with the climate that we have today, natural disasters can strike suddenly. For example, 4 years ago, what happened 4 years ago? Haiti. Recently, we just had an earthquake in Puerto Rico. What strikes here? Winds, mudslides, and as my fellow Teamster brother here says, railroad cars, fires. We also have large aircraft. We lost a UPS aircraft 3 years ago in Dubai, wiped out a complete 4 blocks. So when we say, are you ready? These are just some of the items that we have right here that we are ready to go. I carry this in my car. I carry at least 3 to 4 days worth of water. I carry boots in my car because my high heel is not going to help me when I'm out there trying to walk around. Couple of lines, couple of information that we have. Gas lines in Northern California, if you folks recall that exploded. Calexico, Chile, Haiti, Japan. Local officials are not going to get to you right away. My last assignment as manager at UPS, I was asked to go out to Gulfport, Mississippi after Katrina struck. And I was sent out there to try to get back the infrastructure, but my heart went out there. 3 months of working out there, I saw a lot of our folks that didn't have what we have today. We used to call them blue tents, because that's all they lived in. So working with these folks, my heart kind of went this way to the CERT organization, and that's how I became involved in this. The following year, 2006, I went to New Orleans. They asked me to help out there again, and again my heart went out. So my last year was working out in New Orleans, and finally retired here in 2006. But you can cope with the disaster by preparing in advance, by working with your family. And for some reason, a lot of us think that FEMA is going to come in and take care of everything. That's not the case. They're going to get to us, at least we feel that FEMA has been saying, in a couple of weeks. So if we have an earthquake, tornadoes, is it possible? Absolutely. Hurricanes, what's happening in New York a couple of years ago in New Jersey, is it possible? We don't know what's going to hit us, but we know there is going to be an earthquake. So we have to make a plan. For example, right